Hi, my name is Ms.Blagg, and today we are talking about the slope of a line. All right, today we're talking about slope of a line, which is the vertical change divided by the horizontal change of a graph. It's the change in y over the change in x. Slope is represented by the letter m, so the formula for slope is the change in y's, which is y sub 2 minus y sub 1, divided by the change in x, which is x sub 2 minus x sub 1. Given the points, if you're given the points, or given 2 points, x1, y1, and x2 and y2. Okay, here we have two examples with two sets of points. We're going to start with example 1. Using our formula to find slope using 2 points, we first want to label our points. I'm going to label this as x1 and y1. Label my second point as x2 and y2. Putting it into the formula to find our slope, I'm just going to plug right in. I have y2 is 8 minus, as part of the formula, y1 is 1. Then on the bottom I have x2 is 1 minus x1, which is 3. Doing our math, do the numerator. 8 minus 1 would be 7. 1 minus 3 would be negative 2. Reduce if you can. That does not reduce, so our slope is m equals negative 7/2. Example 2, given these 2 points, again I'm going to label the first point as x1 and y1, and I will label the second point as x2 and y2. Using the same formula, again I plug into my formula. y2 is negative 4 minus y1, which is negative 6. Notice the two negatives. You can go ahead and change that. Minus a negative becomes plus. x2 is 4 minus x1, which is negative 2. Again, minus a negative. You can go ahead and change that to plus. Doing the math, negative 4 plus 6 would be positive 2. 4 plus 2 would be positive 6. This will reduce. You can reduce that by 2, leaving your slope to be positive 1/3. Okay, example 3 and 4, we're going to be looking at graphs where you find the slope from the graphs given the points on the graph. So I labeled the points for you. So we're going to label these as x1, y1, and x2, y2. So I'll start with this one as x1, y1, and we'll label this one as x2, y2. Putting that into our formula for slope, y2 is 2 minus y1 is 4. x2 is negative 1 minus x1, which is negative 3. Again, minus the negative, go ahead and change that to plus. Doing the math, 2 minus 4 is negative 2. Negative 1 plus 3 is positive 2, which simplifies to be slope of negative 1. Okay, in example 4, we're looking at a horizontal line graph. Given 2 points, I'm going to label these as x1 and y1, and label this as x2 and y2. Using my slope formula, I will plug in the change of y. y2 is 2 minus y1 is also 2. x2 is 3. Minus x1 is negative 2. Minus the negative, you can change that to a plus. Simplifying, I have 2 minus 2 is 0 over 3 plus 2 is 5, which equals 0. When you have a slope of 0, that is when you have a horizontal line, which the graph proves to be true. Okay, in our last example 5, we're back to given 2 points, finding the slope. And so using our slope formula, first I'm going to label my points. I'll label this as x1 and y1. I can label this one as x2 and y2. Plugging into my formula, y2 is 1 minus y1 is 2. x2 is 4 minus x1 is 4. Doing the math, we end up with -1 in the numerator and 0 in the denominator. Now the last example, we had 0 in the numerator, which equaled 0. This is no solution or undefined. You cannot have a 0 in the denominator. If you were to plot these points, you would see that this ends up being a vertical line. And a vertical line has no slope.